networking, which will be probably tomorrow. All right, so let's get started with DynamoDB. Okay, so let's see what it is. Before that, let me quickly take you through. I think we have already covered DynamoDB, right? Yeah, that's been covered, so we don't need that. Okay, so DynamoDB is NoSQL database, which we have discussed earlier. So what DynamoDB actually does is, first of all, it is NoSQL. That means it does not uses query, SQL query, right? And it works with key pair value.
Hello, I can't
hear
you. Hello?
You can't hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can't hear me?
Okay, no, I can hear you now. That's right.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, so we are discussing on DynamoDB today, which is the topic for today. And I was saying DynamoDB is a NoSQL database in which we don't use SQL query. Instead, we'll be working with key pair values, and we will be seeing that. So what you create, so we remember that when we created RDS, we actually created a DB instance, right? That's what we created. So that DB instance was created, and that DB instance was running. We provided number of details for connections and other things. And once database runs, you will be creating tables inside that database. But in case of DynamoDB, it's different. You directly create a table and it will be maintained as a table. So you will have your tables available in NoSQL without have to worry about your databases. So it's fully managed non-relational database service that provides fast and predictable performances with seamless scalability. And we will see that what are some of the differences between your RDS and your DynamoDB. So it provides you point in recovery, encryption, and on-demand backup and restore. And it has these global tables. Let's start it. So what are the components of DynamoDB first? So this is a dashboard which you're seeing currently. You have tables, backups, reserves, capacity, preferences, and then a cluster, subnet groups, and other things. So let's start with create table. And we'll see that how it is different than your actual RDS tables, your RDBMS tables. So this is nothing but a table name. So I'll say DynamoDB demo. Okay, and then you have to specify some partition key, which I will say ID for now. Okay, so I'm giving it a table name and I'm saying partition key is ID. And I'm also adding short key, which I will mention ID and let's say roll number. So I'm creating a, let's say, student table. Or instead of that, I would say student. Right, so that's what I'm giving. So I'm creating a student table. I'm saying partition ID is my ID and add short key is roll number. All right, I am making it, let's say first one, I can make it number. I can keep it, string. That's being okay. Roll number, maybe I can put it as number. Okay, so these are the two I've chosen, and I can also add it if I require it. Okay, so for now, I'm just going with default settings. So I'm not choosing no secondary indexes, no provision capacity as of now, and basic alarms. Now, we do have to remember that whenever we choose these things, we need to be within free tier limits. Otherwise, it will start getting charged. Okay, so let's create it. So we are just creating DynamoDB table for now. Okay, now it has created a table. It's creating a table actually. So table is being created is what we see. So once it is created, all these values will be populated. And yeah, I think it's done. So table is created. So we have these tables. If you want to create further tables, you can create it using this. If you want to delete it, you can delete this table. Now, but let's just see what table we have just created. So this is the overview, which gives you all the details which you have selected. Okay, so currently we don't have point in time recovery, encryption, and time to live attributes disabled as of now. If we enable it, then there will be some charges for it, for encryption and other things, but we are not doing that now. Now let's see how to store data inside these tables. So let's go to items. Okay, so right now I don't have anything. So I just have ID and I have roll number. So what I have to do, I'll have to edit, right? So let's create item first. So this is how we create it, and I'll show you. So this is something which we created by default, ID and roll number. And now I'm going to create an item. How do I do that? So here I would be specifying insert. Now I can do this using CLI as well, using one of the scripts. But if you want to do it from here through your console, this is how we do it. So okay, sorry, this is wrong, not here. I need it here. So ID, I would say ID equals to S1, roll number 1, and then I'll add one more, append number, and let me name few other things such as class 2 and position 3rd. Okay, so I'm just giving this for now, and maybe let me add one more which says stream. Stream, and I have a code number for that which says 1. Let's save it and see. So what do I have? Okay, I should have one character for string as well. Let me add one for string. And I would say section C. Okay, I am editing existing values, so let me change something. Let me edit this. And I'll be adding one more, which is sorry, let me remove that. I don't want this. String is what I want. So section, and I would say C. Okay, so that's being done. Okay, now these are my tables which I have, and let me add few more entries. So let me just duplicate it. I cannot duplicate everything, but I'll have to change few things and then I can do it. So what I'll be changing, I can keep other things same, but I'll have to change few things such as ID, which I have to make S2, and roll number is important that I have to change. Section I can make B, stream I can say, okay, it's number, so 1, 2. So I've added another one, and let me add a couple of more. Okay, and then let's change number again, 3, 3. All right, so I'm just having 3 values. Let me put one more maybe, so that I should have enough numbers. So I remember that my roll number and my string is same. Okay, what did I do wrong? Yeah, so that has to be changed to 4 and save. Okay, so what did I keep same? S4 is created already. Think so. Let me create this. Okay, what did I do? S3. Oh, okay, S3 is there. It should be doing it. So 4 and S4. Yeah, okay. So let's say I have these 4 values into my table as of now. You can have numerous values available. But how do we work with DynamoDB? So as we saw earlier in the slides last week, we have something called scan and query. And that's primarily what we use when we want to query or search within a DynamoDB table. For RDS, we type a SQL command such as select star from all tables, okay, or select date from 12, So mainly you will be typing one of these queries, which will be running on your database, and they'll be giving you the output. But in case of DynamoDB, it's different. So you will be using query or scan. As we know, there is a difference between query and scan. When you query it, it's easier to find the information because you use filtering, and you can also see the scan. Scan is, it would be going through the all table and then will be searching for it. For example, let me give S4, which is at the last, right? So I'm going to search for it, and I'll say attribute is ID and equals to what I want to find, S4. Now when I do scan, it will be searching the whole table. Okay, so it did not find that. Let me put section, which is C. Okay, ID, roll number. So ID is what I'm giving. Okay, ID should be S1. I don't know, SS caps or small. Okay, yes, caps actually. Okay, so I've searched for the ID, and then I asked for S1, and it has given me the result for S1. Let's say for S4, and then it's giving me for S4. But mainly what it does, it searches for the whole table. So it goes through the whole table, and then it finds out that information. Additionally, we can put few additions as well. I think it is in small, yeah, small roll number, and let's say it is 1. Let's say if this, now if I'm giving a wrong query, again it will be searching the whole table for finding that. So that makes it a bit difficult. So scan searches for the whole table and then gives you the result.
And when it does that, it takes is more time consuming, right?
Yes, it is more time consuming because it has to go through more tables. So consider if you have 10,000 rows, it will be searching through all 10,000 rows. Now for that, we do have something called query. Now in case you don't know all the IDs, it is best that you go through the whole table, but when you exactly know it, what you're searching for, you better go for this because you would be able to make use of it. So for example, it make uses of partition ID and short key to search for it. So you can simply put S4 in this case here. You can put roll number S4, and then you can search, which will be faster that way. It will give you those results immediately. So let's search for 2. Yeah. So mainly these are the two ways you can query. You can perform operations on your DynamoDB table. So query and scan. Query is faster, it's efficient, it just goes through the filtering, and it uses your partition key and short key indexing to search through your data, while in case of a scan, it iterates through the whole table and then it gets data for you. So it is a bit cumbersome in terms of scan. So to make it efficient, you should use query, but you should know the values of it. When you don't know, you'll have to run a scan to find out what values it has. Okay, so that's how you work with your data. Now let me clear it for now, and then we'll go about searching for everything. Okay, so let me quickly do that. And I'm going to search perform. So when I'm not searching, I think, okay, this is required. So I'll have to change to scan because that works with database. Right, so I have all the tables. Now, in case I have data here, which I have stored, and for some reason I have to send it to reporting, or I have to send it to some other systems to get it processed, maybe a data warehousing system, I can generate it into CSV with one click of a button. So what do? Select it. So that's my table. I've selected it and export, and let's see that. So when you export it, all these data which was in my table can immediately be exported to CSV. So it's really easy that way. In traditional environment, when you were working with databases, we had to write a set of query to generate CSV. While here it's quite easy. You can just generate it and you can simply send it. If you automate it, you can also send it to one of your systems, maybe to email or any other system. So that's something you can do with your data. Okay, so that's about storing data within your DynamoDB table. Now let's have a look at some of the other features which DynamoDB provides, and those are the features which it provides by default, which are not part of its RDS system. So let's see that. So we have something called matrices. Let's see. So matrices is nothing but it will give you extended details about your tables which are running. For example, when you run in RDS, you don't see all these details, but with DynamoDB, it comes all for free. The reason is DynamoDB is owned by AWS, so they can afford you to give these piece of information for free, and that's why people go for it, because it's these features they really get it for free. So, for example, you can see that read capacity, total read requests, total read events, write capacity, and a number of different matrices are available for you to view. So that's really good. And even in terms of, you can see the scan and query being run on DBs is what you can see. So quite informative matrices are available, and you can choose your time ranges. You can change number of 2 weeks and others things. All right, so it also has something called alarm. Now, this is something we will be learning later on under CloudWatch. So when we learn CloudWatch management tool, we will see that how to generate alarms through your system. But DynamoDB by default creates few of these. So as you can see, there are two alarms already been created. So there is one alarm for read capacity, another alarm for write capacity, which is being created by default. So when your DynamoDB is being created, it creates this alarm for you because it makes it efficient by keeping those events and keeping a track of it. Now, anything goes wrong with your read capacity or write capacity, it will be generating an alert for you. For now, I can show you what these alerts are, but that's something we'll be doing it. So what it has done, it has says consume read capacity if it is greater than 4 average units per second. And if that happens 5 consecutive times for a period of 1 minute, then you treat as missing, and then you can attach, you can send this as an alert for DynamoDB. So that's an alarm being created, and it will be sent as a notification for DynamoDB. So that's a notification which you can create, and that is something we'll be learning during integration. SNS topic is what we'll be learning during is integration. But for now, remember that DynamoDB just creates these alarms by default for you to manage your environment for yourself. Normally, in one of the systems, if you're working with RDS or EC2, and if you want to generate alarms, you will be doing it yourselves. Okay. So this is in terms of capacity. So you have something called provisions capacity, and it says 5 capacity units read and 5 write, which gonna cost you $2.91 per month. Now this is something which is not free, and that's something we should remember. It also provides you auto scaling, which we will be discussing during management tools. Auto scaling, what it is, so it gives you a feature using which if your server crashes, it will immediately spin up a new server for you, which will be a replica of your previous running server. So auto scaling is a really good feature, and you can use it for read or write capacity. If you include that, it will be creating this 5 by default for you. Okay, let's go into indexes. So right now there are no indexes created, but you can create an index for your tables which you have created or which you are using. And you can also have something called global tables, which is like available to all your database within your NoSQL databases. So that's something being available, and you can certainly create it globally. Okay, now backup is for your DynamoDB. Now we know that for RDS we have two kinds of backups. For RDS we do snapshot, which is online snapshot. What does that mean? That means it's called automated as well. So these are created by default. So when your DynamoDB is launched, and then you have manual backup. That's something you schedule. So you decide and you schedule it. That's your manual backup. That's what you do in RDS, right? So RDS provides you two different ways to do it, except for the one difference which we have just checked. So by default, you can keep these for 35 days, while when you take manual backup, which you schedule, you can keep it until the time you want it. So it has unlimited validity until you delete it. Okay. For dynamic DB as well, it maintains a continuous backup of your table for up to last 35 days, similar to your RDS. And then you can also do manual create backup. You can do create backup, restore, and delete backup within your DynamoDB. So for example, if I want to create a backup for this table, so table name is student, okay, and I'll say student backup. I'll just segregate it. Okay, so student backup is what I'm named. So remember that why I have created it. Backup successful. Let's see. And this backup is available. Can I restore it? Let's see. I can certainly delete it. Okay, I did something right. Now when I'm trying to restore, what it does, so it says restore can take several hours to complete. Yeah, it is good if you have really huge. In our case, we don't have that huge table, so we'll name it student restore. I'm just going to name it so that I know that this is the new table. So I took a backup from my previous table. I'm taking a snapshot. I mean, I took that and then let me, okay, it should be understandable. Let me just put underscore. Okay, so I can see that what was the original table name, student, the backup name, student backup. Let's say restore table. Okay, so I created a new table now using a student table, using its backup actually. So I took a backup of student table and then I have created a new table from the backup, the way I do create EC2 using AMIs. And let's see if it creates items. So it should have items available as soon as this table is created, because I have copied it from the backup. And let's go and validate. It should be coming in a minute. Yeah, the restore takes time, so must be doing a few things. Okay, in the meantime, let me go back here, and it is still running. Okay, no issues. We'll come and see that. Let's see a few of the other parameters. So there is also something called triggers, which is something you can include your Lambda function. So for example, right now we learned how to create entry into your table. Now you may want to write a program which creates entry into this table. So you can create a trigger, okay, which can connect to your Dynamo DB streams, and that can connect your Lambda functions, using which you can modify this table. So you can make updates to this table, you can write it to this table, you can delete, you can do anything. So I can say new function or existing Lambda function. Let's go for existing Lambda function. We must have something. Okay, so we don't have it, so we can create one. So let's create something from the template. So Lambda is something which we have used earlier. So let's go to new function. So mainly what trigger does is it identifies one of the events. So if you have integrated it with Lambda, Lambda will do its functionality, and when it finds out it has to update the database, it will just hit this trigger and it will come here and it will update your database or delete or modifications, anything you want. Okay, so let's say Dynamo DB Lambda. Okay, I want to say create new role from templates. Okay, that's fine. Dynamo DB role. And this I will name Dynamo. There is nothing for that. Okay, so okay, this is okay. Basic Lambda function, that should be enough. Okay. So, and then I'm configuring this trigger. So I've chosen one of that and I'm configuring a trigger. I'm choosing a batch size lattice, okay, and enable trigger. And then this is the lambda function which is being created. So at this point, even you can write your own function. So you can decide your function, you can write a piece of code which will be updating one of your tables, and you can use that to update your database as well. I'm just creating it for now. Okay, it's taking a while. Okay, so that's been done. It was just taking time. So it has created a DynamoDB function, and we have also attached trigger to it. Now that's where you can actually change your piece of code as well if you need to. This is Node.js, written in Node.js, so you can edit it online right here. You can write anything which you want, or you can take other file from S3 or zip file from anywhere, and you can even change your run environment. So that's something we have already seen in Lambda. But yeah, you can use your Lambda function to do variety of other things. So you can use it actually to make inserts into your DynamoDB. You can integrate with it, or you can also use it with one of the events. So if some events happens, maybe based on that events, you can put an insert into table, or you can delete something from the table. So that's something you can do using your DynamoDB triggers. Okay, so that's what we have created as of now, and you can then later integrate it when you wish to do it. For now, let's just do that. Okay, let me quickly test and see. So it says DynamoDB update, and what it is saying, event ID, records. Okay, let's create one. Okay, event name, DynamoDB trigger. Okay, I'm just running it. Right, so that's been created. Let's test it. Successful. It is run. So successfully processed 3 records. Let's see what are those records. Let's see the log. Right, and so what it has done is DynamoDB boot, keys, ID, and new image message. All right, so let's go and see that. So it has recorded something there in DynamoDB, and let's refresh it. Okay, so insert DynamoDB record, keys, ID, and okay, so this is what it has done, as you can see that. So key 101, message, new item, and some other information, and which you can see here on DynamoDB. Plus modify, and it was what it is doing, remove, and it did remove something, new and old images.
Is that
okay, so mainly
like
it has
an error?
Yeah, go on.
No, I'm asking that, is that like an error?
Oh, no, this is not an error. This is a log. So this is log for what this function has done. So it's like log. You can check it. So what it has done, for example, it has first performed the insert, and then it has done the modification, and after modifying it, and 101, it has removed and 101. Yeah, so that's what it is doing. So it's not actually doing it, but it just shows it there. So that was exactly it has done. But these records, I have something from the previous ones. But that's how you can actually integrate it. So if you want to work with any of these tables, DynamoDB or student or student store, you can specify and you can actually do those stuff. So for example, yeah, you can see the same logs here as well, which we have chosen. And that, so you can use any of your programming languages, Node.js, Java, Python, whatever you wish to work with. You can update your piece of code. You can use one of these tables, and using triggers, you can update your DynamoDB parameters. So your Lambda function can actually perform updates on your table using DynamoDB. All right, and then this is the last one, which is your access control, and that's nothing but you decide who should be able to access DynamoDB from here. So you have number of identity providers, as you can see, log in with Amazon, Google, Facebook. So you can use one of those accounts, and then you can decide what they can do. Maybe you have your database here, or you have a shop running on FB, or you have some forms on your Google, and you want to update those forms data here on your DynamoDB. So you can use it, and you can decide what those users can do: get, pull, item, query, update, and everything. You can put in attributes as well, and then you can do get policy, which is nothing but you define the permissions for the users on what they can do. So you can attach policies as well, but that's something we'll be learning during security. So when we'll do that, we will see how that works. All right, so that covers our DynamoDB section, and as I said, it provides you numerous features in terms of much more than your RDS in terms of performance and speed. Same thing, if you want for RDS, you will have to pay for it, but in DynamoDB those are available for free, and that's why it is advantageous to use this. All right, so that's about DynamoDB, where you can create tables and you can use it for purposes. Now again, like I said, it all depends upon your need. If you are working with RDBMS database, you'll be using RDS. If you're working with NoSQL databases, you'll be using DynamoDB. Okay, so let's get into Elasticache. So this is a different service. So although it is under database, but what it does is Elasticache actually provides caching services. Now you can do it for web and DB as well, depending upon what you choose. So let's see what we have currently. So Elasticache, we have Memcache, Redis, reserve nodes, backup. So these are all common. So these are the two, Memcache and Redis. Now, what are these? So you have something called memory paste, which is your Memcache. And Redis is much more advanced than your Memcache. So if you have to store something more, so for a smaller configuration, Memcache is fine. But if you really want to work with something big, for example, data warehousing systems, you should use Redis for that purpose. Okay, so how does it work? So it says launch cluster, connect, manage. That's the introduction. So it's a web service, as we know, and using that, you can scale distributed memory cache into your cloud. Okay, now for Redis, you have an option called cluster enabled. So Redis is your in-memory data structure store used as database cache and message broker for multi-AZ and auto failure robustness. While Memcache is high performance distributed memory object caching intended to use in speeding up your dynamic web applications. So earlier we have spoken about it in terms of Elasticache. So when you want to use web, if you want to attach it to one of your web servers, so you are looking for a performance enhancement, so for your web application, you will be using Memcache. If you are working with Redis, so you are interested in attaching it to your DB, so it can perform that robustness for your DB application or mainly what database and can make it faster. Now, it has almost the same details in terms of creating configuration with just few here and there. Ports are different for both of them. So what we have is we have a database. No, so we have a web server, right? We can try creating Memcache. So let's say web server Memcache. So this is something you can keep it same because it's the latest one. Port, you can keep it default. Parameter also, let it keep it default. Node type. So it's going to create a node type of extremely large size, right? You can see that R5, which is like memory is about 13 GB, network performance is up to 10 gigabytes, which is really huge. So it's going to provide you definitely a great platform for performance. Now, but I can also choose a lower one because I know I have to work with free tier. If I go on creating higher one, which is default, then I will be charged heavily onto that. So instead of that, I will create a T2.micro, which I know falls under free tier. And even if I have to pay, I'll be paying minimal charges for that because it's a minimal configuration. So I've changed my node type and I said number of nodes, I just need one. And then we can go for advanced Memcache settings, where we can just decide how many subnets you want. If I'll select both, it's going to give me both. Subnet group is what you can decide. Instead of that, I can choose, okay, I don't have anything, so I'll have to create one. So I'll say my Memcache group. Okay, so mainly it will create one that is specific to your subnet, and I'll just put a description. SIG group for Memcache. Okay, and I've selected the subnet. I have set availability zones, no preference. It can go to any one of them. Security groups, there is a default one which is being selected. Maintenance window, I don't want any maintenance window as of now, and I'm not setting any notifications. So once we learn creating notification, we can set it for anything. And I'm going to create it. So good thing what I've done is I've just changed that environment for minimal configuration so that I won't be getting charged for a higher one. That's creating a Memcache, and that's something you would be able to then use it. Similarly, you create Redis, which you can attach to one your databases, and Memcache is something you can attach to your web servers, web applications. Okay, so this is gonna take some time. Okay, so let it get created, and we can go back to DynamoDB, where I hope restore should have been done by now. Let's just go and check. If not, we'll just come back. Okay, it's loading my pages, so it's gonna take some time. Okay, so that's where how I can go to tables. So let's click on that and check for tables. And this is the table which we have created, the new one. Okay, so let's see. So it's being created. What I'm interested in seeing the items. I have to make sure that the items which I copied it from, it has created those items. And indeed, so S1, S2, S3, S4, same as my student. So if I have taken a backup, I don't have to worry about, and I don't have to store anywhere. I've taken a backup. I can use that backup anytime to bring my database back to where it was, and it's that easy. When you're working with actual database scenario, actual database environment, it is difficult to restore, and it does take a lot of time, and everything has to be performed with accuracy to make sure that it works. But yeah, with cloud it's quite easier. It does all those things, or most of the administration tasks it does it on your own, and using command line tools you can actually automate it as well. Okay, so it is still creating. It's creating one of the configuration endpoints, but still it's creating it. Okay, and these are the details which you can see. So the cluster it has created, web server mem cluster is what you can see right here, which is a cluster. And then there's a configuration endpoint is being provided as well, which is this running on this particular port. Engine is Memcache, node type which we have selected, T2.micro. So just showing all the details which we selected when we created this Memcache. So it has everything now. Okay, but these services, as I said, now as we are moving from EC to any services which you'll be creating now, they will be all chargeable. So whenever you create it, you do create it, test it, and whenever possible, once you're done with them, you just remove it, because anything you create, Redis, Memcache, RDS, DynamoDB, all these are being chargeable to you. So you'll be getting charged when you create these services. Okay, right. So this is available, it seems. Great. Yeah, so it's available. And node name 1. And you can also add additional nodes. and let's copy it for now. So this is our endpoint. Okay, it is not copied. Okay, it's not copying from there, so I'll have to take it from somewhere else. Okay, so let's see the security groups, and let me download the client as well. Okay, and let me do the Java .NET because I'm on to Windows platform.
The security groups, did it come by default or you created them?
Yeah, so I have created one for this one, Memcache, and I'll be checking for that. Let's see that. So this is where our security groups are, and you see that this is being created already. And we can check the rules. So what are the rules for this? Okay, so it has created, oh, okay, I have used one of the subnet IDs. So it has actually gone there. Okay. So it is running on one of the CIDR blocks. Okay, so it has gone to a different security group actually. All right, so let's go and hit this. So it can only listen to this particular security group, which is right here. Let me remove it for now. Okay, so let's save. Okay, let me download as well what I just downloaded. So let me get that. Cluster DLL. Oh, okay, I'll have to put that back. All right, so let me get something. Security group, which one is that I've chosen? Okay, that's the default one, so that should be okay. So it has gone to one of my VPC where I want it to be, and let's see. Let me go for a different one, Java. So these are one of the cluster tools using which we can actually see the nodes. Right now we just have one nodes, but if we have more number of nodes, we can also check that. Okay, that's for ready. So let me go. Okay, so I've created it and we will use it. Let me see if I have some other instance which I can use. Let me start one of these.
So question. So with the databases, you always create them inside inside any of the EC2 instances, right?
Yeah, you can attach it to one of the instance so that it can perform the caching for you. Right now these are not coming for some reason, but I'll show you that sometime. Okay. Okay, so let me tell you about one interesting thing, because this is what I got to know. So sometimes when you have to send an error, right? So let's say you are working with one of the instances and you find that there is an issue, or you want to send a snapshot to someone. There is an easy way to do it from here. I just found out, so I thought I'll tell you. So you can click on here. So whatever your instance current status is, right now it is not logged in. So when it is logged in and whatever you run, you can take a picture right from here and you can actually save it. So that's your instance and you can actually save it, and it helps sometimes when you have to show some error or something. All right, anyways, let's go back to what we were doing. So that was Elasticache. And Memcache. One, 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 two, one, one. Okay, let me try hitting one more time. Otherwise, we'll check it later. So let me get this. Okay, and I also don't remember this VPC, how it is created, when it is created. Okay, anyways, so we will do it again when we do our VPC. For now, let's just wrap it up. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so let me go back and to my, where is that, EC2. Okay, my system is responding a little slow today in terms of internet, not coming really fast. Okay, so in the meantime, let's do one more thing. Let's create one instance for Redis as well so that we can use it later. So we'll keep it just one node for that as well, which we can utilize later on. So one will be using for web, another one we'll be using for databases. Okay, not here. I'll be creating this one. So let's create one for this as well. And for this one also, I would say cluster enabled. And let me change this. This is something I don't want. I want to choose the minimum one, t2.micro, and Redis cache. Okay, I'm just disabling it for now because if I choose multi-AZ, it's going to give me more charges. So I'm just choosing that to minimal configuration. I'm not choosing any security as well. Okay, and that's all for now. Create. Oh, okay. Let me disable it because then I will have to choose auto mod enable as well, auto failover, which I don't want at this point of time. We'll be just taking it for demo. Okay, so that must be creating it. So that should be ready. All right, so this we will be covering again when we will be coming to VPC. So when we create VPC, we'll be creating one mini project as well now in VPC. So in VPC, first we'll be going through VPC, followed by networks, and then we will learn about subnets, how they work within VPC, then gateway, and these are the topics we will be discussing tomorrow. So that VPC, networks, gateway, subnets, once that is done, then we'll be creating everything inside this VPC. Now, so that will tell us that we will have a VPC of our own, which will be belonging to us, which is a private cloud you'll be using for your environment now. So your EC2 or any of such resources we will be launching inside this VPC. So as a part of small project, what we'll be doing is we will be creating EC2 instances, DB instances, web server, right? So this EC2 may be web server or application server, you will include one of them, or web server, and then you can attach it to, and then we'll be making connection, and we also will use something called auto scaling, and yes, ELB. So that will be the mini project in which we will have everything together what we have discussed so far. So there will be ELB here, which is this one. This will be our ELB. Okay, and then you'll have your EC2 instances connected. Or we'll do one thing, we'll just keep two EC2 instances and DB. Okay, and then DB would be here. But these EC2 instances should be working in auto scaling. Okay, let me put something else for auto scaling. Let me put this one. Right, so that becomes your auto scaling. Let me just color it, segregate it. All right, so this is something which we already have in place. So that's something which we have created. So we have that connection which we created earlier, ELB to our EC2. Now what we don't have is this to our database. That's something we'll be creating, and then we also would be creating this, which is auto scaling, and everything will be done inside your VPC. So you'll have a VPC for yourself, right? Actually, ELB you can keep it out.
Yeah. So the VPC will be like my private environment, right?
Yes, so that will be environment only to you. So what we have to make sure that whatever we create inside that, there will be few EC2 instances. Okay, one more thing I should just update. That is, let me do that. So one of the EC2 instances will have public access, and another one will have private access. That means this will not be accessible from outside. So using this, you can access the internet, but using this, you won't be able to access the internet. So that's how we are going to design. Okay, in that case, this also will go out of picture. So whenever we have that configuration, we will not allow our database to be accessible from the internet. So this is where we'll be learning about these addresses now, private, public, and other things. So this will be a private connection between EC2 database. This will be your private connection between this EC2 to this EC2, and then between this will be ELB will be your public IP. This will be your public IP available, and that's how we'll be making connection. And this will be your auto scaling as well. Now, once this is created, later when we will go into networking, we will also be learning something called CloudFront, and we also would be creating a CloudFront, right? So a CloudFront also will be coming to picture, and then during networking, we will also see that there is something called Route 53. So Route 53 will be coming here. Actually, we'll be creating all this. So Route 53 will be coming here, or Route 53 can go to your CloudFront, which can then connect to your S3 as well. So this is what we'll be creating, and this will be your S3. Let me just, yeah, so that's your S3. This would be your CloudFront, and this would be your Route 53. So that's the overall network will be created within AWS Cloud. So your Route 53 will be outside from where you'll be hitting a website. So we'll be creating a website as well. So most probably that website will be using a free domain. So we'll log in and get one of the free domains. Using that free domain, we'll be attaching it to ELB, attaching it to CloudFront, attaching it to S3, and attaching it to database through EC2 instances. So that's what we'll be covering. Now, part of it we already have in place. For example, these two. and then others we still need it. So we'll be creating it. So once our networking is done, after networking, we will be doing that. And we'll start networking from tomorrow, which comprises of, let's just see what we have within our networking. So we have, I think we have number of things within networking, which is your VPC, CloudFront, Route 53. These are the three main ones. But within VPC, you have number of different things. You have subnets, you have public private IP, you have security groups, we have NAT gateways, NATs as well. So different number of networking components within your VPC. And we'll be understanding that how it is different and how do you attach each other among each other. So that's something we'll be performing it when we'll create our VPC. So VPC is first, and that is the primary one. No, so what VPC is actually, when we created our EC2 instances, it was creating all our infrastructure, right? Now, how to segregate those infrastructure, that will be learning within our VPC. Okay, so we will wrap it up here today, and then we'll catch up again tomorrow, and we'll be discussing, starting with our networking and content delivery.
Well, let me ask you a question. What about security?
Yeah, that is next. So once this piece is done, we will be going to IAM, which is our security.
Okay.
So this one. So after networking, we'll be moving on to IAM. Okay.
All right.
So that's the next topic. So most probably we will be doing it on Thursday. I think Thursday is what we can do. Maybe Thursday. I think. Let's see. Wednesday and Thursday we'll be starting with IAM. Sound good?
All right. Sure.
Okay. Any other questions in terms of AWS? If you have started working with it.
Well, I am practicing, but because of my current job, I listen to the videos and practice. So I'm not, but I'm listening to the videos right now. I'll gradually try to build up my practicing. Then maybe I'll have more questions. But right now,
Okay. No problem. So yeah, that's fine. Whenever you get time. That's all right.
All right.
All right then. Catch you again. Bye bye. Have a good one. Good night.
Okay.